Hello and welcome to Nerds and Geeks Plus, or as I like to call it, NG Plus. This podcast will focus on pop culture, entertainment, and electronics from an average consumer's point of view. So we welcome you and hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first episode. My name is David, and I'm joined by my best friend, Brian. And today we're going to talk to you about several things. We're going to talk to you about the new graphics cards that are out, or it's supposedly out. It's a paper launch. That's what people are calling it. What it is that's really, it's product that's available in very limited quantities, and people can't really get it, and people get upset because it's not available as promised. So we're going to talk about the RTX 3000 series pre-order. Oh, well, they're out already. The AMD Radeon 6000 series, which was supposedly was not a paper launch, but it seems like it was. We're going to talk to you about The Mandalorian, the announcement that Warner Brothers made with HBO about their 2021, I'm assuming to 2022 release date of movies, the new consoles, and what probably a lot of us have been wondering is whether Cyberpunk 2077 will actually release in 6 days or not, or if it'll be another delay before then. But we're gonna start off with the graphics cards. Now, Brian, do you have any questions about these graphics cards? Now, remember, let me interrupt. Now, remember, there's two. There's Nvidia with their new RTX 3000 series, and there's AMD with their Radeon 6000 series. Go ahead.
So, question. Again, this is where my limited knowledge comes from, right? From my understanding, most of the launches with RTX, right? They were 3 available graphics card at launch, right? Usually it's like the 60, the 70, and the 80, right? Usually, that's what I remember.
Yeah, that's how it normally starts. Yes. And they usually start off by releasing, if I remember correctly, they start off by releasing the lower end ones first, and then the higher end ones. No. They release the high end one first, and then down to the lower end, month after month. Right. So with the 3000 series, they started off with the RTX 3080. Hard to get. I tried getting it, and as soon as I clicked refresh, it said out of stock. Then not too long afterwards, about a week later, a week and a half later, the 3090 came out. I wasn't gonna buy that because that's way too expensive. But same thing, it was a mess. People couldn't get it, and they think scalpers got everything.
Hold on. Can I interrupt you real quick? I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in this year's the 3000 series, there was more than just 3 graphics card launch, right? There was a 90. Right, included this time.
It was, yeah. That's the first. The RTX 3090 is pretty much the equivalent of a Titan that they normally release.
Oh, so is there a Titan in this one?
No, there is no Titan in this one. They usually release them afterwards. But I, from my understanding, it seems that the 3090 is the Titan.
Okay.
Or the Titan replacement.
Now, what was the price difference between all of them?
Well, see, the 3080. The Founders Edition is $600. I mean, $700, $699. That's the price that Nvidia is selling it for directly. And then the other their partners like Asus, Gigabyte, MSI. They can fluctuate the price however they want because they buy the card, they buy the reference model design from Nvidia or AMD, which are a graphics card, and from there they do their own cooling system and they beef it up however they want to, and they'll sell it for more.
Okay, so again, this is where my limited knowledge comes from. I know computers to the point where I know how they run. I know the button to turn on. So when it comes to all these little details, I kind of have a couple questions. Now, I know that the RTX released theirs, right? And yes. Then you're telling me the AMD released theirs as well. Now, how many cards for that series are there available?
So at the end of November, at the end of October, they announced 3 cards. It was the RX 6800, which is selling for about $580, which is supposed to compete with the RTX 3070.
Wait, the 6800 or the 6080?
6800. 6800.
Oh, okay. So okay.
selling for $579 and competing with the RTX 3070 from Nvidia, which is $80 cheaper, $500. Then you got the RX 6800 XT, which is the one that's competed with the RTX 3080. Now, the RTX 6800 XT is a little bit cheaper than the RTX 3080. That one sells for $650, whereas the RTX 3080 sells for $699. Now they have one more graphics card coming out. I haven't looked at the release. I know it's this month. I think it might have released already, or it could be next week. The RX 6900 XT. Now that one is $1,000, and that one's supposed to compete with the RTX 3090. And the 3090 is around $1,300, $1,400, where the RX 6900 XT is $1,000 flat.
Holy crap! So there is a quite amount of difference when it comes to price.
Oh yeah.
Now, if I am correctly remembering, if I want to get the 3080 from the RTX series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the 3090, I actually might need to change the power supply, correct? Because I heard they were a lot beefier.
You might be able to get away with a 750 watt power supply, but what the NVIDIA graphics cards have is this new power supply cable, some adapter, because I don't know why they changed it. I'm not entirely sure. I've never looked it up, but the ports that go in that are on the graphics cards are a little different. It's like 12 pins or maybe 16 pins. It's all one connection, not two, like some of the graphics cards have. But it's all one. It's an adapter that goes into the power supply, and it leads into the graphics cards. But those are only the ones from NVIDIA, like directly from NVIDIA. But if you buy like an aftermarket model, like from Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, PNY, whoever, they have their ports like normal graphics cards. So you won't need an adapter.
Okay, so depending on where you buy it, depends if you'll need this adapter, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering if they're gonna screw people over like they did with me last year when I got the 280.
The 2080, and you got that in 2018.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, we got it in around August of 2018.
I wonder if people are gonna get screwed over.
Why is that?
Kind of like because remember what happened? I ordered that, right? And that was like $1,000.
It was around $799.
I don't know. I remember 1,000. Anyways, and then I think a year later, right? They released the Super, which was way cheaper.
Yeah, they released a Super for around $100 less, give or take, and it was a little bit more tuned up. It was a little bit beefier, slightly.
So I'm curious if it's worth the wait now. Now, again, all of these are limited, right? Because one, either scalpers got it or people that really wanted it pre-ordered it and everything, right? Correct.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I wonder if it's worth the wait.
Oh, well, here's the deal with that about pre-ordering. There weren't really any pre-orders available. It all just they just said, "Oh, here's when it's gonna release. Get in line. You don't get it, too bad." But there weren't any pre-orders. Not like before.
Really?
Where you could just pre-order it and then that's it. And this one, no pre-orders whatsoever. I kept checking and checking, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And whether to wait, I'd probably see. Well, you're gonna have to wait either way because they're hard to come by.
You can't get anything, right? Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, if they're gonna release anything stronger, further down, like kind of like the Super, because I kind of felt screwed over because I spent a lot of money, right, on it, and then like a year later they're like, it's a little cheaper, but it's also a little better. So I don't know. I'm curious if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, you know what? It could be. I mean, there's been rumors that. Well, they just recently released another graphics card 2 days ago. It was the RTX 3060 Ti, which is the cheapest one. It's $400, and it's mostly designed for 1080p gaming. So people are getting into that. But I have seen leaks that supposedly they're going to release another 3080 with that's more beefier and probably a little bit more
Basically,
expensive.
like the
Yeah.
3080 super basically.
Yeah. Same thing.
Interesting.
Same thing with the 3070. I read leaks, but I don't know how true they are or how legitimate.
Okay, so back to the paper launch thing. You explained it like it was stock that they assumed they would have, but they didn't? Or am I getting this wrong? The paper launch thing.
And it's pretty much a product in extremely limited quantities, and it just makes it very difficult for consumers to get their hands on it. You get me? You know? But yeah, it's almost as if they never had any in stock. Let's just put it like that.
Okay.
And it just makes it very hard, and especially with scalpers going on right now, it's extremely hard. I've been close to getting a graphics card. I've had notifications from Best Buy or Newegg, and I had it in my cart and everything, and no, and I could have bought it. Like, I had the money and everything, but I kind of backed off just because I wanted to wait. But I could have gotten it. I had my chance on getting it, but I bothered not to.
Now, question: the AMD one. Okay, well, we know, they're both in limited stock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both versions of these new graphics cards, right?
Correct.
Didn't the AMD one? Didn't they brag about having stock at one point?
They did, but it turns out it was the same thing with them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do you as personally do you think it's scalpers?
I'm 100% sure it's scalpers. Scalpers
Okay.
are taking everything right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had kind of the same issue with the scalper situation. But for me, it's the consoles. So I guess this would be a great segue to talk about the console situation, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
the next topic online would be the launch of the latest consoles, the Xbox Series S and X, and the PlayStation 5. I've acquired
launch. I would wait. What is it? I wouldn't say launch. I would say disaster. But okay, continue.
Okay, yeah, the launch of the next generation consoles. I managed to get my hands on the PlayStation 5. I managed that on Best Buy, but I was also invited by PlayStation themselves, Sony PlayStation themselves, to acquire it, which I could have, and I could have done it for you too, Brian, but for some reason we didn't think. We just had a brain for it.
Yeah, well, here, it was more of assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Kind of assumed someone was getting it somewhere and the other one was getting it from another.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all assumptions.
Yeah. But yeah, the latest consoles. I actually also got my hands on Xbox Series S. It's not coming in until January though. The PlayStation 5, man, it's great. It's great. I played Spider-Man Miles Morales on it. I beat it. I suggest you guys to play it too. The Demon Souls remake, same thing. Fantastic all across the board. I'm about to go on my third playthrough. What else? Astro's Playroom, the pre-installed game that's already in the system. That's a great introduction to the DualSense controller, especially with the adaptive triggers. It's very great, very short, very fun, pretty easy.
Okay, so you've been talking about the whole PlayStation, right? Because you own it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into, because I want to ask you questions about the PlayStation, I kind of want to talk about Xbox,
mm-hmm.
and I find it a little weird, right?
Go ahead.
Because even though PlayStation has been having this whole scalper situation and everything,
mm-hmm.
you would assume that PlayStation was the only one having this issue, but Xbox has been having this issue too, but you just don't hear about it. And I think it has a lot to do with the idea of like a lot of people are more excited about the PlayStation, and that's just my opinion, right?
No, I believe you are correct. You are correct. I think more people are excited about the PlayStation 5 than they are about the new Xbox. Go ahead.
I think it has to do with the whole like the way certain things went down. Like, not only are there no really good games coming out in general for next generation, I think the closest one for me that comes to mind is Cyberpunk, right? But also, the other games I was excited for was Demon Souls, which is on PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Halo, which got delayed. So why would I want to get the Xbox? And Bug Snacks. I wanted to play that because after everybody talked really bad about that game, I actually like people that had actually got games hands on actually said it was a really good game.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for that.
yeah,
game.
and I believe it's free, or maybe it was free, but I have it in my library.
It was free, I think. I think someone else that I know that has a PlayStation literally logged on like three days ago just so they can get it before it goes away.
Okay.
But anyways, back to what I was saying. The Xbox, I thought, okay, there's stock for that. I was under the assumption, right? No, they're still having the same issue as PlayStation. I just don't hear it as much. It's crazy how these scalpers things are evolving in my perspective. Because I thought, okay, maybe it's just like people that really want to buy it, right, and then resell it, right? But apparently, it's a lot more in depth than that. Apparently, scalper groups are apparently having this competition about who can acquire the most console, whatever console you're talking about, or both. And they're having these competitions with each other. So it's making it literally impossible to order one online. And what's even crazier to me is that because the online store is profitable, quote unquote, for the companies, there are some companies, I know Target at one point said no more walk-ins for consoles. Like if they're looking for walk-ins for consoles, say no. Like there are no consoles for in-store purchases. And I thought that was crazy. So to me, this whole scalper thing is actually bananas. I've actually tried many times to try to get a console, and every time either the website crashes and then it refreshes and it's sold out, or my favorite, I get to the buy section and then it says product not in store or product not anywhere near 200 miles within your radius. So I was like, okay, cool, thanks. So yeah, I don't know. To me, the scalper situation is completely out of hand, and I don't understand why there isn't a, how they have the catch. What do you call it?
Catch 22.
No. I don't even know if that's what it's called. It's a thing so they prove that you're not a bot.
Oh, the captcha.
Yeah, with the simple thing of that, you could take care of like a lot of bots. Because I know there's some that are super smart, right?
Yeah.
But there's some that are super dumb.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying you could just put that into your company's website and be okay for a little bit. Like have at least some chance to getting it. But yeah, I don't know. This whole scalper situation is crazy. But you did secure one, correct?
An Xbox?
PlayStation. No, PlayStation.
Yeah, of course. I have mine already.
Yeah. So you've messed with the controller.
Yes.
Is the controller worth the hype? Is it true that it's that good?
It is that good. It just feels alive, It's like it's like it's its own entity when you're using it. Let's just put it like that.
So one of the cool things that I've heard about this controller, right, is the haptic feedback, right, with the triggers. And I heard that in Call of Duty, and again, other opinions about that game, I'll probably talk about it a little bit, but apparently it has a different feedback for every single gun in that game. None of them are the same.
Yeah, that is true. Like with each gun, it's different, honestly. But lately, whenever I play, I've been reusing the same guns over and over again because I'm just used to them.
Fair enough. But that's cool. I heard that like there are. One of the best examples was in that Astro game, whatever it's called. What is it called?
Astro's Playroom.
Yeah. There's a section where there's like you feel the vibration of the character walking, and you feel the vibration of it on water at the same time.
That is true.
To me, that's impressive. But again, what I've also heard is that this all depends on the developer.
Yes. Well, yeah.
So if the developer wants it, they'll do it. If not, then maybe.
Yeah.
Right? So from basically what that's telling me is like any first party most likely take advantage of this, right? But anything third party probably wouldn't put the time and effort for this. Maybe?
Yeah, I would assume so too, honestly.
Yeah, because or maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe they're just like, yeah, you know what? Let's try it. I don't know, but to me, that's what it would sound like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have a perfect PS5, and I don't understand how you got so lucky. But I've heard there are many problems with the next generation of games. I mean, consoles. Sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly haven't looked too deep into that. I mean, I know, about that, that the PlayStation 5 rebuilds its database somehow when something crashes. With me, nothing has happened so far. What it was with me is that it did crash on me a couple of times when I was playing Call of Duty, but it was the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
When I went on multiplayer, nothing. But I did manage to beat the campaign.
Question: when it crashed, did it say it needed to repair?
Uh, it gave the same message that it gives the PS4 when you unplug it while it's in sleep mode. So it just says that it's repairing, or something along those lines, or it's restoring after power loss or something along those
So
lines.
it did have to restore, right?
No, I didn't have to really like. I mean, I guess yeah, quote unquote, it did restore, but it didn't rebuild like its database like it says.
So interesting enough, I'll reference two people that I watch, right?
Mhm.
I need to get the other YouTuber, but the first one is Young. Yeah, he was talking about
Oh yeah, young.
how he had a couple issues when it was on rest mode, right? And they had to repair every once in a while if it was on rest mode.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he did contact someone from, I'm not sure if it was directly like someone that works on the tech of it or not, but whoever he contacted got an answer for him. And they said that it seems to be a problem with a certain router, a Google router. And it just happened to be that he had that same router. So it could have been that situation, and that could have been easy software fix. Now the problem was that there was another, ACG?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yes, ACG got a PlayStation 5, of course, but his bricked because of this whole rest mode situation.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that's a problem. As a consumer, that's a big question mark. Because I'm like, okay, so now I have to worry about rest mode, right?
Yes.
I'm a little worried about that. I'm like, okay, what if mine happens and you have to return it and you get your money back, but you do not get what's it called?
Another console.
You have to wait till you have to wait for the next console, right?
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Yeah, that sucks bad.
Yeah. To me, what's even worse, right, is this idea. You know about external saves, right? Like you have to use an external drive and everything to save. Well, you can do that with PlayStation 4 games, not PS5 games, apparently. Only with PS4 games. So here's the deal. If you have your PlayStation on rest mode and for some reason it accidentally disconnects the external drive, right? It'll corrupt data. It will read the external drive as corrupted, even though it isn't. So you have to either, and people have tried this, rebuilding their hard drive, right? But it doesn't matter if you connect it or not, it will still consider it corrupted. So what they have to do is hard reset their PlayStation back to how, like if it had nothing in it, so that it could read the external drive. That's a big issue, because if I remember anything, is that the USBs in the front for the PlayStation 4 were delicate, and if that at all moved, especially on this setup, that could break my not the PS5, but it will break my experience, right? Because I'm like, okay, I have to restart my whole PlayStation 5 just so they could fix the idea of it connecting to an external hard drive that I have my PlayStation 4 games on. Like, to me, that's a big no-no. And there's the other problems, right? Coil whine. But this is for both consoles, right?
Well, the coil whine, I've never heard it on the Xbox. I've only heard about it on the PlayStation 5.
But it has there has been some occasions where it's happened to an Xbox. But coil whine isn't too much of a problem, right? It's just the electrical current going through the through all the electronics
Yeah,
and it's vibrating.
it's not
And
considered a defect.
right, it's not a defect because even graphics cards have this problem,
Yeah.
right? Or like they just give it time and it'll bend to the vibration.
Mhm.
So that's not really an issue. The issue I have is that disk drive, the PlayStation 5 disk drive, the one if you do decide to get the disc version, right?
Mhm.
You have the disc version, if I
I do.
remember correctly.
I do.
Is it loud?
No, no, it's not. It does its occasional spin every now and then, but it does it for like a good 3 seconds, and that's it. Really, it's not bothersome, honestly.
But that's from your distance, right? You like sitting on the couch, correct?
Yeah,
Let's say it's someone like me
but you know what?
that has all my consoles right here next to my computer.
Yeah. No, but you know what? Like sometimes I'll use my chair and I'll sit like in front of the TV just to play, and it'll happen, and it's still not really, it's not bothersome to me, honestly. It only happens if you actually have a disc in there.
Okay, so what if I want to play a game or watch a Blu-ray movie?
Then I mean I'm sure it'll rev up every now and then.
Okay,
But it's not it's
me,
but it's not a bad thing. It's you get used to it.
yeah. Now, again, those are all problems that have popped up.
Mhm.
There's also a GPU problem that's been happening, but that's for any console, right? Like if there's a GPU problem,
Yeah.
of course return it, because there's always going to be defects to GPUs, right?
Yeah.
For me, all those defects and stuff have made me rethink of buying
Rethink
this
of buying.
console.
Okay.
So for now, I'm pausing my whole idea because not only do I have to go against scalpers, I have to pray to God, right, that it works.
Yeah.
So for me, I think for this next generation of consoles, I think I'm gonna wait.
A little bit.
I think I'm gonna wait. I think it partly has to do with being forced to,
Yeah.
and secondly, it kind of has to be with what's happening with the consoles. I think a few software updates, and I think that will be easy fix, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then maybe if they have a PlayStation 5 Pro, maybe I'll just wait for that too. I don't know. Because, I mean, the difference between PlayStation 4 when it came out and the PlayStation Pro that came out later
Mhm.
was huge. And I loved everything that came with the PlayStation Pro. Never bought one because I already bought a PS4. But now, I think I might just wait for the PlayStation 5, see if they have a different version of it. That would be better.
Years from
We'll
now.
see. Yeah. But also think about it this way. Like for me, memory is everything. And the fact that the PlayStation 5 doesn't come with a lot of memory kind of bothers me. I know they're gonna have the thing later where you can just put any SSD, right?
Yeah,
If I
no,
remember
no,
correctly.
not an SSD. It's going to be specific towards the PlayStation
Right.
5's hardware. It's going to be a PCIe 4.0.
It has to be particular. Yeah, it has to be particular with
Yeah.
what's compatible with it. But
Yeah.
it could be from any company, right? As long as it's compatible.
That I'm not sure. I just know that it needs to be PCIe 4.0.
Okay.
Same as the latest motherboards from AMD, like the X570 series motherboards that have those PCIe 4.0 lanes for better memory transfers, bandwidth, and stuff like that. It's the same thing with the PlayStation 5's hardware. Those are going to be the type of M.2 SSDs that it's going to support. And I don't know from what partners, but it's going to support that.
Okay. And if I remember, the Xbox has their own, right?
They have a proprietary memory card.
Yeah. Okay. That reminds me of like when I had a GameCube.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for next generation gaming, but I don't know about the consoles yet. I'm gonna have to wait. But now that we're on the topic of next gen gaming, I kind of want to talk about Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh, yeah, dude. Is it finally gonna release?
Yeah, that's the question, right? And
being that it's
so
6
close,
days,
right?
yeah, 6 days from now, it doesn't seem likely that it's gonna be delayed.
It's delayed.
I don't think it is. Like this game sorry, go ahead.
I think the main one that really nailed it on the head for it's confirmed for that time is the leaks. Like I haven't seen any of the leaks, but that I know that people are leaking it and getting like PS4. I don't know why, but it's particularly PS4 versions only. But I know the PS4 versions have been leaked.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gives me the idea that okay, the game is coming out
Yeah.
next week. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then I saw a leak about this guy who he's been playing. He played it for like a good 175 hours.
And still hasn't beat it.
He hadn't been it yet.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
they say the story is shorter than The Witcher 3, but I'm assuming it has to do with a lot of the side quests that he's been doing. Maybe.
I heard that it's longer when it comes to the main story. Like if you played The Witcher just to like from the first quest to the last quest, but main quest only. I heard The Witcher is longer.
Yeah.
But that doesn't add the side quests, which made The Witcher so much longer. So I'm assuming it's going to be the same situation for this. It's going to be long because of the side quests, and it seems like a lot of the side quests are going to be important for either upgrades of weapons or upgrades of your like character.
Yeah.
So I mean, they might say it's like not main quest, but I mean, if you want to look badass or something.
Yeah. But look, this game was announced back in the beginning of 2013. Then I believe in E3 2018 is when they announced they showed more of it. I believe they showed another trailer.
Yeah. They had to have behind the scenes, right?
Where and then
certain people got to play it.
Yeah, and then last year they announced the first release date, which was supposed to be April of this year. Come close to April of this year, they delayed it to November. Come close to November, they delayed it to December. And I strongly believe that it'll be the last delay. And seeing as it's 6 days from now, I am 100% sure it's going to release.
So, a couple things that happened early on, and I don't know if you remember this. If you hear me call David Crash, it's because that's his gamer tag. So, one of the things that I was worried about, and I'm still kind of worried about, is combat. For how cool the world looks, the gunplay didn't look that amazing to me, especially the first. I forgot what trailer, but I think it's one of the first gameplay trailers that showed like a big boss in a garage, and the guy had a like rocket propelled pistol. And to me, I was like, this looks like lame Borderlands. Because Borderlands, when they have weapons, it's all like flashy and stuff like that, right? But then after I started seeing more gameplay of the guns, I'm like, okay, maybe that's different. But what I've heard is that melee combat is terrible. And it comes with a thing like
that could be true. I mean, Deus Ex was kind of the same way. The gunplay is pretty good, but when you do melee, it's kind of there isn't really much to melee. You press a button and it does it does an interaction.
But this one's, I think one of the best examples for this would be Skyrim, right? Like Skyrim, to me, the combat was never the best. I think the only thing I loved about the combat was the archery, just because of the whole like kill cam, like sniper elite, follow the bullet type thing with the arrows. I thought that was cool. But if you think about like the blade play, it was kind of lame. And a lot of people are saying it's kind of like that. And I'm kind of disappointed because one of the cool things about so far what I've seen of like Cyberpunk is all the adjustments for your arm, like the ones that look like praying mantis arms that you can just stab people. Like to me, that looks so cool. But if the combat is lame with melee, I don't know how I feel about that. So we'll have to see. But the thing that got me really excited is the cars. I was blown away when I saw the cars.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm probably gonna end up playing this game very stealthily. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think I might be a little loud on this one because I don't know, man. This game looks weird. It looks fun when like combat's going crazy. One of the things also that I noticed with this game is that, well, first let me ask you this: do you think this will mark next gen?
If this is what if Cyberpunk 2077 will be what next gen is,
what next gen could be or should be? You think so?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that until I play it, because honestly, to me, when I first started seeing, gameplay of Cyberpunk, it did remind me a lot of Deus Ex.
Okay, but to me, okay. So great example of that, right?
Yeah.
I love Deus Ex's world, right? And I love the gameplay of it, right? Of course, I think the director's cut had the better stealth version of it, right?
Deus Ex Human Revolution director's cut is the one to play if you're going to play Human Revolution. Honestly, I haven't played the first one or Invisible War, the second one. I've only played Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. And between both of those, the gameplay is good for both. Mankind Divided's gameplay is a little bit better, but the story is better in Human Revolution. The gameplay is equally good too, but if you get the director's cut, oh man, that's the
I heard that's the one that you can play stealthy, like how stealthy should be played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's my point. Deus Ex, great world. I hated that I couldn't explore it.
Yeah.
I hate that it was like limited my. Now, don't get me wrong. That didn't make the game any worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just made me yearn for more.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of seems very complete in the sense of I can go anywhere and do whatever the fuck I want.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think this is going to be a great example, not about next gen. I think what a good single player could be, kind of like what The Witcher did for like fantasy, right? In the sense of like you're out there, you're a Witcher hunting monsters, griffins, lechens, and things like that. Like you went out there and explored a fantastic world. It reminded me of like the first time when I watched Lord of the Rings. I was like, wow, look at all these like mythical stuff. Very cool, very awesome. Great example of what a single player game and fantasy setting should be. I think this is going to be one for like the punk thing, but I don't think it's going to define next gen. I think it's going to have aspects that people should strive for. For example, like NPC is walking around, driving around, things like that. But I think GTA does a pretty good job with that too. So I'm not sure how much that's going to be. It's something I'll have to see. But I don't think it's going to be next gen like revolutionary. But I think for a single player game, content wise, I think it will. I think that's what it's going to be with the Cyberpunk. I'm excited. Can't wait. Probably going to burn my PC and my poor graphics card. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it's gonna be. This is gonna be my entertainment for a good amount of time. Right?
Yeah, me too. Go ahead.
I'm just a little worried about the length, and then I have to kind of play 3 of them, which kind of gets me to my next question. What are you picking?
I think I'm gonna do Nomad.
Really? I would have 100% thought you would go Corpo. I'm also gonna go Nomad.
I think I'm gonna go Nomad.
Yeah, I didn't want to go Nomad as well.
Yeah, I want to go Nomad.
Just I don't know, because it reminded me of Mad Max. I don't know. To me, that's what it reminded me of. Like the idea of getting all these car parts, putting it together. That was pretty cool to me.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm sure it's gonna be a fantastic experience.
Yeah, I hope so.
What was I gonna say? No, you know what? I think that's it. I think I am gonna do several playthroughs. But honestly, my first playthrough is gonna be the longest one, and then my next two playthroughs are probably just gonna be straight story.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not gonna want to explore? Like for me, okay. So for example, like Nomad for me, learning the backstory of why you're gonna leave the family that's out there in the Nomads, well, why you're there and things like that. Like to me, that's interesting. The other thing that's interesting is I don't really care about the Street Kid one. For me, that Corpo one kind of reminds me of, and like you said, Deus Ex, and Jensen was like, already part of the company and everything, and he was like just security and everything. Like to me, that reminds me of that, and I want to play that so bad. But I want to experience Nomad first.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. I hope for the best, expect good, and I hope I'm not disappointed. Now, this is gonna be my entertainment for a very long time, right? Like a good, like solid month.
Yeah.
But something in entertainment that recently got, like, I think yesterday got said was the whole HBO Max thing. Now, if you could shed some more light on what that is.
So what it is that I guess Warner Brothers announced that they're gonna release their whole slate of upcoming movies on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time. That's really what it is. So like Dune, the Suicide Squad, the next Matrix movie, the Mortal Kombat reboot, Kong vs. Godzilla.
Does that include Wonder Woman?
Yes, that includes Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's gonna be the first one, I believe next week.
Okay.
Whenever that is.
I thought it was the 25th. No. Oh no, 25th is Christmas.
Yeah, 25th is Christmas. I think it's sometime it's sometime this month. That's all I know. Yeah. So Wonder Woman's gonna be the first one.
Now, this I really want to talk about in the sense of like consumer, right? Like I as a consumer, right?
Okay.
This is fantastic for me.
Yes.
Someone that's cheap, doesn't want to waste too much money. I'm already being being financially supported when it comes to videos by you. So like if I want to go watch something on HBO Max, I just log into your account, right? And just go watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're a leech.
yeah, I'm leeching off of you in this case, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like the double win, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be able to watch this for free.
Mhm.
As a person that really likes to go see movies at theaters, this is devastating.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what are theaters gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, what do they do next? As a company, though, as Warner, right?
Hmm.
What am I gonna do about income? That's the one that's confusing to me. Like, what? How can you financially support this? Because the whole idea was that big paycheck from theaters. Like, for example, one of the best examples is Avengers, right?
Mhm.
The last movie, ridiculous numbers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If they did that, but they only did it, okay, let's just do it on Disney only, like Disney Plus, right? I don't think they could bring in as much money. I really don't. I really don't think they could.
Yeah. I honestly don't know what to say because I don't understand a lot about me and finances and money are never get along. But
Fair.
I I do know that once the production company releases a movie in theaters, it's a 50-50 cut. Half of the profit goes to the theaters and half of the profit goes back to the movie company.
Right. And maybe that's the play, right? Like,
yeah.
it's a monthly thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
let's say, okay, so let's say it's a monthly thing, right?
Okay.
They pay how much for Disney Plus? How much is it?
I pay yearly. I pay 69, I think, or 62 around there.
Okay, so if we divide that by monthly, right?
Oh.
Okay, hold on. I need a calculator for this.
Oh, yeah.
So how much is it did you pay?
I pay about I believe it's 69 yearly.
Okay, so let me divide it by 12.
I pay yearly.
Okay, let's say that's $5 per month, like $6 per month,
It's
right?
$6.99 per month.
Okay, perfect. $6 per month, right?
Okay.
And the ticket for a movie is
It could even be at that price too, depending on the theater.
right, but let's say generally speaking, it's like $10, right?
Okay.
Generally speaking,
Okay.
average $10, right?
Okay.
That's a $4 loss, right?
Okay.
If you're planning on only releasing one movie per month,
Yeah,
from Warner, right?
Okay.
But let's say there's a movie back to back. Like let's say 1 week you're releasing Dune. This is all hypothetical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say one week you're releasing Dune, the next week it's Wonder Woman, and then the next week is Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
That's all in 1 month,
Mm-hmm.
and you're paying $6 for those movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's a giant chunk of a loss, and not to mention that people aren't. It's not just us that share an account, right?
Mhm.
Other people are sharing accounts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a giant chunk of check that the company isn't making.
Yeah, I know.
So that's crazy.
I think what they're thinking is that they're gonna balance it out with people going to the theaters.
Right. That's what I'm hoping for too, right? Like that's what I
I'm
want
thinking.
is because it's an experience to go watch a movie in a big screen.
Yes.
And not only that, let's say it's IMAX, right? Like there's no way. Like Interstellar, I remember that's like my first, not Interstellar, one of my first, but when I went to watch Interstellar, I'm like, I can't watch this at home. Like I can, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. When you and I watched it, the experience was unforgettable in theaters.
It was crazy.
It was amazing. And
it was ridiculous.
And
I do not. If there's a movie in IMAX, I always say go watch it. Right? Like if you get the chance, go watch it. That's the only reason I can see people going to a theater is like the high quality IMAX experience, or like in The Hateful Eight. That's the one by Tarantino, right?
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino, whatever his name is. Yeah, he did a film as actual film, right? Like using actual film.
And that camera.
Yeah. Those are the only reasons I could think of. Like if there's a special way that they filmed it that can only be shown in a certain way, those are the only ways that I could see people going to a theater now. And that's so sad because that means AMC, Edwards. I don't know any other, to be honest, big chain theaters.
Cinemark's
around
pretty
here.
big.
Cinemark, okay?
Yeah.
All of those are going to be devastated. And on that subject, I know that what's it called? Let me see if I can find it. I know that AMC released a statement saying that they're like immediately going to have dialogue to talk to Warner about the situation,
Mm-hmm.
and that if this continues, it will devastate theaters.
Mhm.
Like even stock market wise, they're dropping.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm happy as a consumer, but I'm worried as a person that likes to go see movies in theater.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but this whole like HBO service things, like all these services are fantastic for me because I can be home and watch them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's causing things like that. But speaking of services, Disney Plus. I want to talk about what we're currently watching now. There are other services other TV shows from different services that I'll talk about. We'll like
Mhm.
talk about, but I want to talk about one of them in particular that I watched and I recommend strongly, and then we'll talk about like the one that we both kind of watch and kind of really like where it's going.
Yeah.
So the first one I want to talk about was kind of like from Apple TV. I never planned on using it, but it was free because I bought the new iPhone. So I decided to check out a nice little show called Ted Lasso, right? And I freaking loved it. I cannot believe how good it was. Now, I didn't know where this whole Ted Lasso thing came from. Apparently, it was from, I want to say it was SNL or like a joke coach that would
Mhm.
go on and talk about a sport they had zero experience in, but they decided to make a show out of it. And I 100%, if you have like 1% knowledge of soccer
Mhm.
and enjoy a good, hilarious show, I strongly recommend giving this a watch. Even the first one or two episodes. I
Mhm.
cannot wait. And it is renewed, so it's gonna have another season, but 100%. But the other one that I want to talk about is, of course, Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, here we go. The Mandalorian.
There you go. Are you enjoying Mandalorian so far? Like, not getting to any spoilers right now, but we will get into it, and I will say beforehand that. But are you enjoying Mandalorian?
Of course. I enjoyed season 1, and I am currently enjoying season 2. And I wish they could just release the next 2 episodes already. Honestly,
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
I really-
really do like it. I like it a lot.
I really wish they could. And look, I like Star Wars. You know, I'm a pretty
Uh-huh.
big fan, but I'm not. I'm not too deep into the lore. I know some stuff, a good amount of stuff, but not everything.
Same. I have like almost like zero information on Star Wars, like the Clone Wars and all that stuff. Zero information, right? The books, I've read one book because I had to read it for a one of those book essays that we were doing in public school.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, never touched anything else other than the movies, right?
Yeah. Well, see, the books. I mean, there's 2 canons now. Really, there was a canon, but now it's called Legends. And what that was is that was the original canon that started after after the original trilogy and stuff like that. And ever since Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas,
there's been a new some changes to the canon. Right?
yeah, that canon no longer exists. So
Interesting.
everything. So like everything from like anything that happened after the fall of the Empire. So like Luke meeting Mara Jade and having a son, Han and Leia having 3 children, Chewbacca dying, anything like that. Nothing of that sort exists anymore.
So something I've heard is that actually this whole lore thing is kind of up in the air because there are people fighting back against the whole current lore, which is the last 3 movies.
Mhm.
People are actually trying to get rid of it, like just delete it,
Mhm.
right? So it's kind of up in the air right now, and I actually kind of noticed it in Mandalorian that they're kind of playing with the idea that maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. A lot of the lore that happened later,
Mhm.
but anyways, we'll talk about it later. But when I first started watching Mandalorian, I didn't know hell what Mandalorian was, right? The one that had to inform me were my friends because again, these are people that say they're experts. I don't know if it's true, but they say they've watched enough and read enough about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, I'll take their word for it. I didn't know what a Mandalorian was. I 100% thought Boba Fett and Jango Fett were Mandalorians. Apparently, one of them kind of isn't, or one isn't. Anyways, I don't care. What I thought was interesting was that it seemed very cowboy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Western, old Western type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Around season 1, though, I started noticing a problem, and I was worried.
Which was
the Mandalorian would travel around, right? But it would always return back to the same spot,
mm-hmm.
like the same spots. And I was actually getting kind of angry at this idea. Not to mention, there's a little green guy that I hate in it. All right, I strongly hate the little. I'm not gonna say his actual name just because again that's also a spoiler. But what we dubbed what the world dubbed Baby Yoda, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that little thing. By the way, it's terrible. Hate that thing. I think it's the worst thing created. Next to my favorite character, Jar Jar Binks, 100%. I think is the best. But that being said, I was noticing this little trend, and again, it's the same trend as the Westerns, right? The Westerns always ended up going back to the same spot, and I didn't want this. And so I was like, okay, I like this show. I like how the direction it's going. I like the characters. I'm a little worried for the future of it. Now, this season has clarified a couple of things, and this is where we talk about spoilers, right? So if you're worried about spoilers, probably cover your ears for a couple minutes, and then if you come back and still don't understand what's happening, cover your ears again. But this season, I was worried about one thing, that it was going to be a repeat of the first season. And based on the last 3 episodes, I'm wrong. It's not the same thing now. Because around episode... the one where he goes to that water planet, right? Where all the fishing boats.
Episode 3. No.
And I don't. I'll take your word for it because I have no idea.
No, it was episode 4, I believe.
All I know is that it happened, right?
Uh-huh.
And he ran into a group of other Mandalorians, right? And after that point, I was like, "Yo, he needs a crew. Like, that's what he needs. Like, this ship keeps getting destroyed. He at least needs a mechanic, like in his ship, because he has a mechanic, right, friend that he always goes to. But this person needs someone to travel with him. And I was like, he needs a crew. He needs a crew. Like this show, in order for it to evolve, he needs a crew. And this last episode, 100% kind of confirmed that for me. I'm gonna RP the ship, but he then now needs a crew.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, 100% this show is going in the right direction. My question for the show is, lore-wise, where is it going to go? Because I do know it's kind of in limbo what's going to happen with the lore of what's happened recently, the new movies. And also, I've also heard they're trying to make the little green dude canon. So I don't know. I'm curious, but I'm very excited for the show. What was your favorite part so far about this season?
This season, I really liked the last episode, and that the Jedi with Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, I don't know a lot about her because I didn't watch Clone Wars or even Rebels.
Yeah, same.
But I really did like that episode a lot.
That samurai aspect to it was phenomenal to me.
Yeah, I
loved it. The other thing I loved was that the 2 sabers she had, right? It's the opposite of what the bad guy has, right? Like, right. What I liked is that they were actually different sizes, like an actual samurai. Yeah. I was so happy with that. That whole episode was fantastic. Yeah. I was actually a little worried about what they were going to do with that character because, of course, early on it was leaked that character was going to be there. So I was worried how they're going to present it. 100%, this episode was fantastic. Now, personally, my favorite part of this season had to be the episode prior to that was the little chase scene that they were having with the speedsters. the speed scooters or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
What are they called?
the one that has the episode before that, the siege, where it's in the
Yeah, yeah.
Mandalorian, Kara, Grief
Not my
Karga.
favorite episode, but I just loved the chase scene. I don't know why. I just loved every aspect of it. It just reminded me so much of what happened in with the Ewoks and stuff. I was so happy. I was just living it. It was awesome. But yeah, currently, that's the big show that I'm currently watching that I'm really liking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really hope for next week it's gonna be something good. Hey, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody that watched or heard. Sorry, there's nothing to watch, but that heard this podcast. Please be patient with us. We are kind of learning things around here, but it was fun. We're just blabbering, talking about stuff. Probably gonna happen again when we do the next episode. But thank you for sticking around. I appreciate it.